Okay, now we're going to go ahead and reassemble our carburetor. We cleaned it all up with some cleaner, blew it all off, brushed it all off with the wire wheel and the Dremel tool. And now we're going to take our carburetor kit and rebuild the carburetor. And hopefully this thing will run really well after we get it all back together. So now we're gonna reassemble. One thing that I highly recommend, that was in the old seat for the screen that keeps dirt out. So we're gonna reinstall that in the new one. He gave us a new deflector. So we're gonna, I actually like the old one better. The old one is a nut style. You know what? I think we're just gonna make sure that's nice and clean and put that one back in. Which it is. These don't go bad, they're made out of brass. As you can see, there's just a little discolored, but really nothing wrong with it. So we're gonna put that back in there. You never know if you'd ever have to rebuild it again. I'm going to start from the top here, get everything back together. Get our new needle valve. Float. Really nothing wrong with this. We'll reuse this again. Float seems to be fine. We know the needle valve needed replaced, which this one looks nice. Should be, because it's brand new. Clip our float back down in there. Now, they do give a tool for float height, since I didn't really touch this. And you can follow the instructions that they give with the paperwork. Gives all your adjustments here. They actually have the old style measuring device. As you can see here, used to be a cardboard tab. So let's see if we have here's the float adjustment, and this here is a this is shown for 1981, which isn't correct, but we'll just take a measurement here, and sometimes you have to take it back apart and check the adjustment, but we want to be right at the middle there. This here's actually, flip it around here. actually at a 1/2 inch. See what they're showing here. Got two different papers here. Oh, this one here has the better. I think we're going to leave it the way it is though. Alright, 79, 302. This is showing 7/16, which is, I think, we're pretty close. So, good enough for me. Alright, now I'm going to make sure our venturis are all cleaned up. That is one thing I did not clean yet, so I'm going to take this over to the parts washer and clean it up. Alright, we got everything cleaned up, got the top all cleaned up, brushed that off, blew it out. Now we're going to take and put the, I believe they call this a venturi. I cleaned this all up. There's a little ball that goes down in the center in here, and then the rod goes on top of that. And you can see all the description of it here. And there's two different styles. You can see the one on the ball, and then they have another style there as well. But this one here doesn't have that. We have our gasket in place. Slide that down in. And here's our screw. We put a new gasket for the screw. Get our screwdriver. Tighten that up. Don't have to be super tight, just has to be snug. Now we're going to take and work on putting the accelerator pump on. Just a little check valve. Place that in. You want to try to keep things clean as much as possible, but sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but try to keep things as clean as possible. Now I gotta find, here's our new accelerator pump. The old one actually literally fell apart. We'll have to clean that up. You just take your time doing things a little at a time, and the good thing is you have a reference to check. Okay, getting things finished cleaned up here. We brushed off the housing for the power valve. We got the housing brushed off for the accelerator pump. Now we're going to install the power valve. I have it in there, got the gasket set. Get our wrench, just going to snug it up. Install our bowl a certain way that goes, just like that. Get our 4 screws. Get our screwdriver, tighten them up. Now onto the power valve, or onto the accelerator pump. Alright, we got a little check valve in for the accelerator pump to install our spring. And we have our bracket. Oops, and if you want to double check to make sure you have it right, it's right there on the diagram. So one just like that. Press it down in, have your screws ready. Get your gaskets lined up. For a little spring that has some pretty good tension on it. Okay, we got our accelerator pump all installed. You have to twist that around, place the linkage in there first, then to bolt it on, lining up your spring internally like we showed on the diagram. Now we have our gasket in place. Now we want to take and line up that for the choke and get that all hooked up. But we have our gasket in place. Line our choke linkage up. And as you can see, right there we have our choke linkage lined up, and we're going to take and put our small little C-clip on there. Mount that on just like we took off. We're going to put the new one on. Okay, using a small pair of needle nose pliers, we got our little C-clip in there to hold the choke linkage. Now we'll take and put this, line our gasket all up, get everything lined up properly, and bolt it together. Okay, we got everything finished up, we got it all tightened up, it's all clean, ready to go back up on the truck. We made sure our gasket's all lined up. We got good movement. I didn't really feel any play. You like to check for play in the shaft going through here. This seems to be pretty good. So we're ready to put this back on the truck, and then I'm sure we're going to have some fine tuning to do when we put it back on the truck. But if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Also encourage you to subscribe. This is GMAC. Thanks for watching. This is how you rebuild, at least how I rebuild, the Motorcraft 2150 2-barrel carburetor. So we'll see you in the garage next time, and remember, keep on wrenching.